Here we have a specialized S-Works cyclocross bike. Yeah, stripped this frame down, did some polishing on it, did some little scratch detailing, cleaning and that kind of deal. Replaced kind of the chips and made it a little more shine. It's not perfect, no, but I want to protect the frame from here on out. What should I do? I'm going to add some ceramic coating. Actually, I'm going to be using some ceramic coating from Lithium, starting off with a cleaning agent to really prep the surface, get it really ready to take in that ceramic coating and do the ceramic slam from Lithium and see what kind of shine we get off this. And after we do the actual process of showing you how to do that, then guess what? I'm going to do a little test and show you how it sheens and actually drips off. Not just water, mud droplets too. You know, that's the real stuff that we get ourselves into. So check it out after this.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously I have a garage shop. Take scary how to use one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe.
All right, a little bit of product review. What I did initially on this frame is did the scratch and swirl from Adams. What this did is kind of lifted up those scratches, the micro ones, and cleaned up the actual chips. And what I used is one of those applicators that match the color, like this guy right here, in addition to a little bit of kind of like a sandpaper cutout version of 3000 to kind of smooth out those surfaces, that kind of thing. Well, in addition to, I did add the compound afterwards by using their compound pad, which is usually the blue one. That preps the surface and makes it a little bit smoother, takes those swirls out, any of that nature. Then I finished it with polish, with a polishing pad to bring out that shine. So the frame is beautifully shined as much as it's going to be. And by using these products here with a Dremel tool, buffer tool that I've been using, I was able to get those chipped areas, quite a few of them. It is aluminum, so it really shined the aluminum underneath. So it's kind of like nice little boo-boo scars, right? Like, you know, you did your time. It's kind of like your roughneck kind of scars, but, you know, on a bike. And now, since we did all this, we want to protect it, right? And protecting it actually helps for the sheening of water, mud, and contaminants and protects that frame a little bit more. So prior to putting a ceramic coating, we're going to do the lithium all-purpose cleanser here. What that's it's going to do is clean the surface and remove all the gunk. So when we apply the ceramic slam, this magical stuff, we'll probably do 2 coats and let it cure. Then we're going to actually test it and see what you'll be looking at for beading and droplets and so forth, which I have other videos kind of featuring these products that I use. And it's kind of a nice little additional thing when you're actually doing a tune-up on a bike, which is awesome because I'm adding that extra service, not necessarily that, but I'm also protecting the paint that's on there. So if you have a really nice high quality paint on your bike, especially if you spent 5 or 10 grand on your bike, this is a good nice little process to kind of keep and preserve and make that polish frame shine like it should, right? You paid for it, might as well protect it. Let's dive into this. Here's the frame we're talking about, and you notice these chipped area. I thought it was a cracked frame, but once the paint flaked away, I was able to get that to shine up with those polishes. And this is where it comes to the point where aluminum doesn't rust, but it does corrode. And the corrosion sometimes gets into a paint scratch and so forth, and it'll eat away underneath the paint and it'll pop right off. The frame is perfectly fine, but you know, then you look at some other little scratch boo-boo areas here, then down the down tube. But other than that, I mean, this is just kind of like your, you know, it's been ridden and scarred up by either in the garage or what have you. But there's also another big boo-boo area, which is underneath where the paint just flaked off here. And I'm assuming probably these were from a car rack. But you know, that's a cable that came through and rubbed off. But you can see the shine of the bike. I mean, that's the rest of the paint is pretty magical. So we're going to protect it, and it's still a good idea to protect it even though it has a lot of chips. It's definitely not a lost cause. You want to protect what's still on there. And I'm putting a ceramic coating, which will go on the metal parts, will protect the metal parts as well and keep water from getting into those seam areas and prevent any kind of oxidation or other kind of corrosion. So let's dive. So having figured out, this is I Know a Guy Bicycles, and hey, I'm Justin the Guy, and I've been doing detailing frames for a good year and a half now. I just really got into it. It's just kind of an added thing. I've been in the industry for over 30 years, and for me to like find something new, fun to do to my everyday of already taking parts, bikes, and putting them back together, it actually is kind of fun. So what we're going to do is going to use the surface prep, and we're going to wipe that down, and then we'll apply the ceramic slam after that. So cleanliness was good bikeliness. Whatever. Basically, clean gloves, clean rags. You don't want any kind of contaminants, cross contaminants from degreasers or any of that nature when you're actually working on this. I have a industrial box of paper towels that I use for using the cleaning. You can also use fiber cloth as well, but for the cleaning part, I kind of like the paper towel type method. That way I can kind of see the lift of any kind of excess dirt that happens when I actually apply this and scrub the frame in detail. And what's really different on bikes than cars is obvious that a car is a smooth surfaces like a hood, a side panel, and so forth. Bikes are just a whole bunch of curves, and it's a lot of manipulating and moving around. And when I actually clean and detail the frame with the prior products from Adams, I'm going over this frame 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and then applying all this other ceramic coating. The frame gets reviewed several times. In addition, it's for any, searching for any cracks or any dings or any of that. So it's also really good for that. But for yourself at home, if you're doing this, you can still leave some of the componentry on it. You'll just have to use these, cleaning agents and just kind of like fold them up and get into the actual frame to get into those little areas. But for me, if I strip the bike down, it's just a lot easier just to attack it. And again, I don't spray anything directly onto the bike ever. Reason being is you'll see that mist, and that mist will go into areas where you don't want it, and you may not know it. And that can compromise your chain, your componentry, your brake pads, especially if they're disc brakes. I mean, all that stuff is no bueno. So what you want to do is definitely just spray it on the rag, then apply it in that way. If you get to a frame like this and strip down, then you can kind of rinse, spray it off. But the only time you should spray your bike with like low pressure water. Don't use those high pressure water hoses and that kind of thing. I see those videos like those high-end tech mechanics spraying those bikes down, but you know what they don't show is that particular bike is going to be stripped down to the bones like this and rebuilt back up. They're just cleaning that thing off before they get to it. They don't show you that. They're just showing you the high pressure, and you're assuming you just throw some lube on it and go. That high pressure will get into the bottom bracket, hubs, headset, and start breaking those seals down and so forth. And you're pushing contaminants in those areas where those seals are not designed to hold up against that. So keep that in mind. But let's just keep cleaning this bad boy up. All right, so if you're doing your car, they're recommending you doing like 2-foot sections or a panel at a time when you're cleaning and doing detailing spray ceramics like that. And they suggest doing, like a couple brands do a couple coats at one time, so you're actually getting the area pretty much covered, because you'll miss it on the first swipe, and if you go over through the second swipe, then you're actually going to catch that. Well, here, same kind of process. What I found, it works very well. I do two different pass go-arounds with each cleaning process, from polishing to scratch and swirl to the compound to the cleaner, surface cleaner to even the ceramic. What that does is really, you're really catching those areas and so forth. And I noticed I must have did a really good job by those 3 other products prior to cleaning. Was when I swiped it all off, not very much dirt and contaminants came up on those paper towels. So that means it's actually good. And the treatment of the paint has been kind of opened up and ready to take on the ceramic slam from Lithium. So again, I use the applicator. I find these applicators at Walmart. You can find them on Amazon too. They're very pliable. So if you have componentry still on there, that way you can kind of get into those nicks and crannies a little bit easier. But for me, it's just kind of a nice little applicator. And the ones that came from Adams are brick style, which is great for hoods and, car panels and so forth. But we're talking about a whole bunch of surfaces here, a lot of different angles and so forth. So in that case, you definitely want to have something that you can actually apply it around and it's bendable, that kind of thing. Actually, a little goes a long ways. You don't need to really drench this. I just do a few squirts on here and apply it. And when you see it dry on ceramic slam, it kind of leaves a haze, and then you take a fabric cloth and it buffs it off. And on like Adams polish and some other ones, will leave kind of a like acetone sheen to it. And once that's dry, then you take the same thing. And when you put the fiber cloth on there, you'll feel kind of like a tack or a give. Then it'll become like super slick. So once it's buffed off with like a fiber cloth, like this guy right here, this will actually bring that shine out and be slick as a whistle. So let's proceed to keep on. All right, now we have it. We just let it dry, and then we'll actually proceed to wipe it off and then test the paint. But what we're looking at here is a bottle of, this is 16 ounces. The other brands are sometimes 12 ounces, but think about it this way. This will do what I've seen in other videos for ceramic slam. This will take up to like 8 cars. So you're not using a lot on a bike frame. Granted, it has a lot more little surfaces. I'd probably put a little more on an applicator than you probably would if it was on a car for coverage, but I'm really trying to get into all those little areas really good and get a good coating. Well, I think about it, you can do 8 full cars on this guy. I've done about 12 to 13 bike frames already on this, and I've been doing a couple coats, and in addition to sometimes a 3rd coat, and on some other test little projects I've been doing, I've only gone through about a half a bottle. So needless to say, this will last you a good long time. In addition to that, they're saying this usually runs like to 6 to 8 to 12 months of protection. Keep in mind, that's cars outside in the elements, right? Bikes, if you're doing, if you're like me, put the bikes in the garage and that kind of thing, that ceramic coating is going to last a lot longer than that and better protection. So good rule of thumb is, I would, if it was me, having a bike, you ride it for a season and do that annual tune-up every once a year or every 2 years, whatever you feel you ride or how much you put into it or need to. And when you're doing that full tune-up, then having that ceramic coating put on at that particular time would actually keep protecting that frame for long years to come. Also make it a lot easier to clean, because I'm going to show you here shortly on when mud and so forth gets on this frame, it kind of just falls right off. And in this particular case, this frame will need a cure. It says like about 5 or 10 minutes to dry. Something like this, you want to I like to just let it sit overnight, then dive into it, that kind of thing. But therefore it still has protection pretty much right out of the gate once it's dried. But for those extreme elements of going through car washes and so forth for your vehicle, they're recommending like 24 or 4 hours or something like that. Read the bottles. Each particular one's a little bit different kind of blend. But, you know, it's one of those end of the day situations where anything is better than nothing on there. And that's going to actually help your paint protect itself. So ceramic coatings are, as you see, pretty easy to apply. And you can use the rest of the bottle in your car or anything else you want to make shiny. All right, here we have it. There is like a kind of a dullness to it because it's just dried. And all you need to do at this point is take that fiber cloth and you kind of see that dullness go away and that tackness as well disappear. And then you just have this high resolution shine. So yeah, let's just check out this. So you see that high level shine. And I do like little extra coatings underneath. So where the spray comes up from the wheel, that kind of thing, or especially when I have it stripped down to this point, I really like to get into the little areas that you would have a hard time otherwise because of cables and componentry and so forth, especially in the bottom bracket area. So yeah, let's check out the water treatment. So you know, you have those days where it's sunny and all of a sudden that rainstorm comes out of nowhere. See that beading? Yeah, that's awesome, right? Then you get some vibration, right? And it just comes right off, like so. And needless to say, you know, those water droplets will be a lot easier to wipe off once. See how fast they just come right off? So if you spray your bike down with low pressure hose water after your ride and you got a lot of gunk on there, it's going to sheen right off of the frame, like so. Look how beautiful that is. Now for the mud. Now for my high-tech mud applicator. There you go. You just got yourself sprayed by some random car. Look at that. All right, so look how that just beads up. So if you're done with your ride and you're at home, even when I test it with dry and when it's dry, it pretty much does the same thing. So adding some misting water, and that just basically melts away. Low pressure again, and bam, you are pretty much almost like it never happened. Look how beautiful those beads are. Yeah. On a particular frame that's not treated, it's basically a flat, just sticks to the frame. This way that protection keeps all those particles off of the frame, and when you rinse it off, it sheds it off with it. And also a UV protection and a little bit of impact protection, but not much. But it'll definitely help out with the UV and other and so forth. So that being said, let's recap. So there we have it. You know, if you're wanting to protect that very beautiful bike of yours, and especially if you got a really fancy paint job or got a bike that's like a Klein paint job, those are pretty cool. And you've seen like the newer Specialized and Trek ones are coming out, or you can even go custom if you wanted. And you definitely want to do this, just kind of like your car. And yeah, I can't say how cool this is to come across this kind of techniques, and it is super smooth. Obviously there's going to be some aerodynamic qualities to it, but you know, I need some lack of aerodynamic blockage myself to make any difference. But if you want your particular frame to stay protected and cool looking for long periods of time and making it look shine, why not, right? And it doesn't really cost that much. The lift on it for a bottle of Ceramic Slam right now is going anywhere between $29.99 to $35, somewhere around there. And again, it'll last for a long time. So I'm sure if you buy one bottle, it's going to last you pretty much, depending on how many bikes you have, right? For me, it's, I've had it for a little while now, and I've gone through a lot of frames. So, and you can actually apply it to different things like the stem, seat posts, saddles. It does multiple surfaces, so on shifter hoods, levers, and things like that too. to help protect as well. That would help sheening of water when you get it caught in the rain, or if you do more aggressive riding like cyclocross and that kind of thing where there's mud, or mountain biking where there's mud. This will definitely give it the protection that it needs. And I think it's something that really hasn't been addressed in the cycling industry very much, and it's something that you should really think about doing. But anywho, well, thank you for hanging out with me. The product list will be below if you want to check out the products yourself. And this frame, I'm getting ready to send out to a new owner. So until next time, thank you for hanging out with the garage. And if it's nice in your neck of the woods, please go for a ride. It's beautiful day. I think I might do it myself. Wow. Until next time, from the garage.